usiulize maswali.
Sasa wao kijiita kijana, sisi tutajiita nini? Mimi ni bibi ya Ongeki. Si ndio hiyo sasa ananifananisha na mwanamke na mimi si mwanamke.
Tatani ya Njue.
Ketuta. Sema ukweli hii koti tuachilie. Enga mama.
Ngoja, sikiza.
Si mzee, si mama ni mheshimiwa.
Enga mwambie sichukue sheria kwa mikono yake.
Ala.
Sichukue sheria kwa mikono yake.
Wanariadha wa Kenya walidhihirisha kuwa wafalme na malkia wa mbio za uwanjani.
Ilikuwa Olimpiki yangu ya kwanza na ilikuwa na pressure mingi, but nimemanage, nimepata medali.
Nimefurahia sababu it's a great opportunity kupata silver. For me, I'm so happy.
Pia walionyesha umahiri wao kuwa mibabe ulimwenguni.
Nashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu tumefika hapa na the goal.
It's a plus, great achievement to myself and my country.
Kwa haya na mengine, tazama runinga ya KBC Channel 1 Ijumaa hii kuanzia saa 2:30 jioni.
Yeah. Take a musical trip around Africa right here on KBC Channel 1. Every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. on Afro Vibes.
Because this is the hottest show right now.
We give you a musical cocktail from North Africa, Central Africa, West, South and East of Africa.
We are live and we are loud.
Where about it today? I want to show them my attitude today.
Your Sunday will never be the same again with
DJ D and
DJ Leo
on Afro Vibes.
Your musical passport to Africa.
Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me to enjoy myself.
Yeah. It's just I like the way they talk in a dramatic. There's always drama.
Yeah.
And I also like their accent.
Yeah, they've even given me a name, by the way, on TikTok.
What's your name?
Lerato. It means love. My fondest childhood memories. Well, it's that one time I thought tomato paste was jam. And so guys,
so you had it on your bread.
Yeah, guys, my siblings walikuwa wanapiga story huko nje.
Yeah.
I slipped away. I didn't even tell anyone because they were talking about jam. I was like, oh, by the way, there's something red in the fridge. Hi, my name is Esther Kazungu and you're watching the Cynthia Nyamai Show.
Nobody will believe you because you say a terrible truth. You preach the end among terrorized men.
My name is Jeremiah.
But your word is God's word. Your voice is God's voice. And you, Jeremiah, are God's prophet.
God.
Live from the broadcasting house, this is KBC and this is KBC Lunchtime News on this 27th day of August 2021. Hope you're having a fantastic weekend. The weekend is finally here. We have a comprehensive bulletin lined up here for you. We have news from all corners of the Republic, plus business and not forgetting sports. Welcome. Remember, you can be part of the conversation on our social media platform, including Facebook and on Twitter. My sign language interpreter for this afternoon is Lucy Mwaura. My name is Njue. We begin with DP Ruto security detail, where Narok West MP Gabriel Tongonyo and his Narok East counterpart Ken Aramat have strongly condemned the withdrawal of GSU officers from all deputy president residencies. The leaders say the government must provide detailed explanation on the change of guard and prove without a shadow of a doubt that the move was not politically instigated.
Thursday afternoon, the state withdrew the General Service Unit officers attached to Deputy President William Ruto's residences, replacing them with the administration police officers in what the Inspector General of Police termed as normal reassignment. A move that seems not to have gone well with the DP's allies. Narok West Member of Parliament Gabriel Tongonyo and his Narok East counterpart Ken Aramat are reading mischief into the move, terming it unconstitutional.
Chapter 8, Section 5 state the function and the role of the GSU. And one of the functions is to provide security to the government installations and buildings, and specifically to the president and the deputy president. It is very clear.
It's really shocking us as legislators or as a country that at this age and this period, security for the deputy president is being withdrawn. We want to urge those officers that are appointed or employed or who are employees of the government to really not put this country in problems.
While alleging frictions between President and his deputy, the leaders maintain that the change of guard in the Deputy President's security detail is ill-timed.
There is more than meet the eye. The act is very suspicious. The IG should respect the law. Is not an employee of anyone, or is not an employee of an individual. If there are differences between the president and his deputy, which are obvious and out for everyone to see, for reasons that we don't know, the constitution must be respected.
This even as residents of Sugoi shared their mixed reactions following the move.
Na sisi kama wakaaji wa Sugoi tu kufurahia ni kwa nini ni kama walionelea deputy kama ni kama matarau.
Kwa hivyo wakati unatupatia AP wakuja wachungie sisi president, deputy president ni makosa. Kwa nini wewe ulete AP saa hizi? Ile siku yote security protocol ilikuwa inasema nini kuhusu AP?
The office of the Deputy President has since demanded an explanation from the Inspector General of Police on the matter. For Lunchtime News, I'm Safin Acheng Oma.
Elsewhere, 5 people have been killed in an accident involving multiple vehicles at Mukonje Trading Center along Eldoret-Webuye Highway. In the accident, a lorry rammed into a probox and burst into flames. The accident also involved a fuel tanker and a Nissan Matatu.
Charred and mangled scraps of vehicles which found themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time paints a clear picture of the aftermath of the Dawn accident. An accident where 5 people lost their lives.
Wamechomeka beyond recognition. Alafu tume-identify tu mtu moja ambayo alikuwa driver ya Kanta.
One of the tankers collided with the other and hit an electric transformer and in turn ignited the inferno, where some of the victims were burnt beyond recognition. Witnesses and the victims narrated the harrowing experience, further calling on the county government to ensure it improves on its emergency response to reduce damage.
brakes baby ni kama zilifail na ikagonga gari ilikuwa mbele, pia ilikuwa lori ndogo ya mafuta. Hiyo lori ndogo ikapandia gari yangu juu na ikalipuka, ikagonga transformers ikalipuka.
Pia watu wetu wa county ya Kakamega, serikali ya county ya Kakamega ikiongozwa na Honorable Oparanya, tunataka wanunue magari ya kusima moto ya kutosha, na wawe wanatembea na maji ya kutosha na gesi ya kutosha, sababu moto huu saa yenye ilianza saa 9. Magari zimefika hapa saa 1. Kama wangefika mapema wangesawazisha kitu.
Na watu walipata majeraha. Watu 6 wamekimbizwa hospitali ya Webuye na mtu mmoja amepelekwa hospitali ya Lumakanda.
For Lunchtime News, I am Frederick Parsayo.
Elsewhere, police in Kitui and Machakos have launched investigations into an attack at the Kanyonyo B2 ranch, which left 16 people nursing serious injuries. An armed gang is alleged to have raided the ranch, brutally attacking employees in a suspected land tussle.
According to the victims, they were going about their business when a group armed with machetes raided the Kanyonyo B2 ranch along the border of Kitui and Machakos counties.
Jana mwendo wa saa 6 kuna kikundi ya Mobela iliingia mahali tunafanyanga kazi B2 na wakaanza kutupiga. Walikuwa wamebeba silaha mingi, mishale, shoka, mikuki, panga na manati.
16 people were left nursing serious injuries after the attack.
Wakimbiza, wakawashika, wakawapiga, wakawaumiza, wakawakata. Sai kuna wengi wetu wamelazwa hospitali ya Kitui General.
The victims were rushed to Kitui Level 5 Hospital and Matu Level 4 Hospital, where they are receiving treatment. According to the ranch's management, they are the rightful owners of the ranch, claiming the attack is an effort to grab the land.
Tuko na lisi yake. Ile iko na miaka 46 years to go. Kwa hivyo, we are legally possessors of the land. Lakini wale wengine wanakuja wanaambia watu tunataka hii kichaka ni yetu na ni squatters. Wanaanza kukatakata hii chamba na kuuzia watu wengine.
Authorities have launched investigations into the violence. The employees are calling for justice and protection from the government.
Tunalilia kilio chetu ni kwa Bwana Mutiambaye na Matiang'i.
Kwa CS Friend Matiang'i wa internal security aangalie hii jambo, tuko na shinda.
Reporting for Lunchtime News, I'm Jackie Wambiru.
Moving on, herders in Kajiado Central and Kajiado West sub-counties are living in fear of losing their livestock due to a looming drought. The National Drought Management Authority has classified Kajiado among counties that might be hit hard by drought in the coming months.
Pasture is diminishing, seasonal rivers are drying up, leaving herders jostling for the remaining resources. Herders now want both levels of the government to step in to avoid mass livestock deaths as witnessed in previous years.
Hivyo tunaomba hii mbuzi tunapewa itaongezea maziwa ili tuweze kuuza sokoni tupate ya kusomesha watoto wetu.
This comes at a time when the Kajiado County government is implementing a climate mitigation program in Kajiado West and South sub-counties. Over 500 herders and farmer groups are receiving hybrid livestock and improvised farm implements to boost mechanization of agriculture.
Tumekuja hapa tukishirikiana na World Bank tukiletea wafugaji wa sehemu hii zanaa za kuweza kupambana na climate change, badiliko ya hali ya anga, mashini za kukata nyasi, zingine za kuweka baling, ng'ombe za maziwa tumelete na mbuzi.
Addressing the situation, Governor Joseph Olelenku said it is high time local herders get informed about climate change.
Na tunashukuru sana maana kulingana na vile hali ya anga imebadilika, tunajua kwamba hizo zitaweza kutusaidia kimaisha, especially hizo ng'ombe za sewol ni ng'ombe ambazo tunatarajia kupata mapato mzuri sana.
Reporting for Lunchtime News, Amamboyo Tende.
And still on drought, over 2,000 families in Lamu and Mandera counties have received relief food from the Kenya Red Cross Society to cushion them from drought. Lamu and Mandera are experiencing a serious drought, with locals forced to travel long distances in search of water and pasture for their livestock.
According to Kenya Red Cross Coast Branch Manager Hassan Musa, 21,000 people in Lamu County are at risk of starvation due to an ongoing drought.
Lamu nao ni zaidi ya watu 21,000 ambao kwa sasa hivi wako katika hatari ya kuwa katika janga la tatizo hili la ukame.
Musa says the available water ponds have either dried up or waters unfit for human consumption.
Sehemu nyingi sana za ambazo ni za maji zimekauka. Ni water pan moja tu ambayo iko hapa. Na zile ambazo zimebakia sasa hivi, yale maji si masafi kwa binadamu kunywa. Hiyo ni kwanza. Pili, maji hayo ambayo binadamu wanakunywa, pia mifugo wanatumia maji hayo.
Locals say the food distribution exercise came in good time.
Hii chakula cha shirika la Red Cross imesaidia pakubwa kwa sababu kutoka huu ukame ulipoingia zaidi ya vipindi vitatu sisi hatuna makulima.
In Mandera County, some 1,100 people have been handed food to cushion them from the effects of an ongoing drought. Red Cross Secretary General Dr. Aisha Mohammed says some 195,000 people in Mandera County are in dire need of humanitarian assistance.
Tumeona kuwa wale ambao wameathirika katika kaunti hii tumeambiwa ni 1,195 kwa hivyo kwa hivyo tunaona kuwa bado kuna watu wengi sana ambao wanahitaji usaidizi.
For Lunchtime News, my name is Yusuf Hilo.
Elsewhere, residents of Imani area in Narok North have taken to the streets to protest against the poor state of roads in the area. The locals are accusing some individuals in the county governments of embezzling funds which were allocated to the construction of the roads in the year 2016.
The angry residents barricaded the road, demanding accountability for funds which are allocated for the road development.
Wakazi wa Imani House tumechoka na hii barabara kwamba county imekuwa municipal na imetengewa mpaka fedha za kutosha za kuunda hii barabara, lakini waliotengewa pesa waliajibika kwa kumwaga maji siku 2-3.
Emilio Sono says the road is dusty and in a pathetic condition to detriment of business and movement.
Barabara inafika Masai Mara University, sisi tunaumia juu ya vumbi. Hata juzi kuna pikipiki imegonga mtoto juu ya vumbi, sio kupenda kwake. Alikuwa anaenda lakini akateresa juu ya vumbi mpaka hiyo mtoto ikabidi tuchange ndio atoke hospitali.
The sentiments were echoed by Alex Kennedy and Daniel Ngugi, who further added that the road has been a big challenge to them and their children.
Sisi watu kama watu wa pikipiki tunaitishwa 500 bila change. Hakuna change hata kidogo, lakini hii vumbi iko na change ama tu tunaumia kwa hii barabara. Nini sasa? County tunaomba tunataka lami, hatutaki maji zimemwaga, lakini ikimwaga hata 1 hour iishi kabla vumbi ikuje. Tunataka lami.
They are now calling upon the county government to intervene on the matter. Jacqueline Masharia for Lunchtime News.
Now, Kenyans with complaints about historical land injustices have until September the 20th this year to submit their grievances to the National Land Commission. A section of rights groups believe that Kenyans have not been sensitized enough on the matter, calling for urgent measures to ensure no one is locked out.
With the clock ticking to 20th September 2021, the date on which Kenyans who have suffered historical land injustices should submit their plea, land activists in Kilifi County are aware that many Kenyans, especially those in the coastal region, are not aware of the deadline and could be locked out.
Ukweli ni kwamba Ikiwa hutafanya hivyo kufikia tarehe 21, basi nafasi hii itakuwa imepotea.
Ningeomba serikali ituruhusu tuwe na vikao tu, kama vile watu wanavyoenda kanisani Jumapili, kama vile watu wanavyoenda misikitini. Tuwe wachache kwenye makanisa, tuelimishane. Tuwe wachache, tuweke tu vikao tukitumia local administration, ili watu wetu tukaweze kuelimisha na tuwafahamishe, wafanye bidii. Wale ambao hawajaandika hizo petitions kwa National Land Commission, tuwahimize waandike, na kwa wale ambao tayari pengine washaandika, pia waandike barua zingine zile ambazo tunazita kwa lugha ya Kiingereza, wafanye zile tunaita follow-ups.
A land activist in Sabaki ward Tembo Kaviha believe that Kenyans have not been sensitized enough on the provision.
Ni jukumu la county government to create an institutional framework for civic education. So kama ni serikali gatuzi ifanye haya na haifanyi, hiyo still ni kama inadhulumu mwananchi wake pale chini. So tungeomba serikali iruhusu vikao, wananchi wawekewe vikao, na mashirika ambayo yako na ufahamu kuhusu jambo kama hili la mashamba kama vile IPD na mengineyo wapewe hiyo nafasi.
He now wants the government to allow grassroots administrators like chiefs and their assistants, as well as community-based organization, to hold sensitization meetings so that those who have claims can submit them before the deadline.
Harakati za kutafuta uhuru, ardhi yako ilichukuliwa au ardhi yako iliporwa kwa njia ya ufisadi, ama serikali ilichukua ardhi yako na ikaitumia pasipo idhini yako na kwa dhulma, basi wewe una haki ya kufanya maombi yako kwa tume ya ardhi ili tatizo lako liweze kuangaziwa.
Timothy Kipnoso for Lunchtime News.
Now, the identification of bodies of the 9 construction workers who died yesterday at a Hurlingham construction site began today at Chiromo Mortuary in Nairobi. Kins of the deceased were inconsolable after viewing the bodies. Our reporter Caroline Kamau spoke to some of them and filed this story.
A cloud of grief engulfed Chiromo Hospital as families, one after another, came to terms with the sudden death of their kin yesterday at the construction site of a 14-story students' hostel in Hurlingham, Nairobi. Alice Mora's brother, Dixon Ondieki, was among the 9 who died. She last spoke to her brother Sunday, and he promised to see her soon.
I received the news yesterday. Actually, my brother-in-law is the one who called me. I didn't know. Then told me, I have heard your brother has fell from a building. So I started calling. I called the neighbors. That's when I got the information that they had been taken to Chiromo.
His wife, Marceline Murabwe, is expecting the second child. The death of her husband is a big blow to her and her daughter, aged 3.
Mwenyewe niko na mtoto wa miaka 3 firstborn, alafu mwingine natarajia. Sina matumaini, hakuna mahali nazaenda, sina kazi.
This family says they are yet to get any official communication from the company on the way forward regarding the death of their kin at work. The incident is said to have occurred at around 12:45 p.m. while the construction workers were busy dismantling one of the cranes at the site. Eyewitnesses said the crane developed a mechanical problem before collapsing, crushing its human cargo roughly 70 meters to the ground. They all died on the spot. Among the dead were 2 Chinese nationals and 7 Kenyan employees of the building's contractor, Zhejiang Chejiang Construction African Limited. Caroline Kamar reporting for Channel 1. Caroline Kamar reporting for Lunchtime.
Elsewhere, the National Council of Churches of Kenya, NCCK, has warned against the appeal of Building Bridges initiative case. The council says the church will continue to advocate for national dialogue and an all-inclusive process that will bring viable solutions.
Speaking during the closure of the 64th General Assembly in Limuru, the National Council of Churches of Kenya called for dialogue and adoption of an all-inclusive process to address the challenges ailing the country. The council calling for a cease to any attempts to amend the constitution until after the 2022 general elections.
So we do not object to the appeal. It is fair
for them to go ahead and appeal. But we have made our position clear that we feel between now and the next election, the country should be focused on having a free, fair, and peaceful election, and also a free and fair transition from the current government to the next one.
They further urged the citizenry to vet aspirants carefully ahead of the elections in order to secure proper representation post-polls.
If we fail to strategize and engage the youth, the bulge will, however, turn into a tragedy, with a high probability of throwing the nation into chaos. Of great essence is that the youth be equipped with relevant training and skills, as well as mentorship opportunities to enable them to be involved in leadership, social and political life of the nation.
Nancy Okware, Lunchtime News.
Moving on, a section of Turkana County leaders now want the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to liaise with the Ugandan government and ensure livestock stolen in Loima and taken to Uganda are returned.
Over 161 herds of cattle were stolen by the Njue community. Our boys managed to follow them and return back the livestock. But what annoys the leadership of Loima and their people is the fact that the UPDF from the other side of Uganda decided to intercept both the boys and the livestock that was returned after a raid that was marshaled by the Njue community on our people. And they returned the entire herd to their battalion in Moroto. This is not the first time UPDF have captured our livestock and taken to their camps. And in fact, when they take there, they sell it and they even slaughter most of our bulls. So it's my big appeal to the government of Kenya and to the leadership of Uganda that we are asking them to give us our livestock.
More than 250 traders who were operating a private Alibaba shopping mall in Mtwapa, Kilifi County, staged a peaceful protest protesting destruction of their merchandise by a bulldozer that flattened their shops. They said they lost goods worth thousands of shillings in the demolition by the county government.
The county enforcement officers descended on the structures at dawn 5 days ago and pulled them down in a bid to force them to relocate to the new market, which they lamented is about 2 kilometers away from Mtwapa township.
Mimi nauza cereals, nimeharibu mali ya zaidi shilingi 90,000 hapo ndani. Na wengineo wamebondewa kila kitu, si viazi, si tomato, si vitunguu, zote zimeharibiwa. Na hakuna mtu amepata kitu. Kuku zimeuawa pia hapa ndani. Magunia ya makaa imesagwa yote. Na bila kupewa notice, hatujui nini kunaendelea.
Disparate and confused, the traders said a majority of them had taken loans to relocate to the mall to boost their businesses, but now that their wares were destroyed and buried in the rubble, they don't know how to move forward.
Saa hii mimi nadaiwa huko nyumbani, hii pesa pale sijui nitaitoa wapi, vitu vyote pale hakuna, wataka tufanyeje?
The traders also claimed their goods were vandalized by Kilifi County enforcement teams under the guard of uniformed police officers and demanded that Kilifi Governor Amason Kingi compensates them.
Tunaomba serikali ya county ingilie kati, na hasa tunaomba gavana wetu aingilie kati hii swala. Tujue hapa tutasaidika vipi, manake mali zetu zote zimeharibiwa hapo.
From Kilifi County, we are taking our first break at about 26 minutes past the hour. But allow me first to appreciate Kioko Boni. You're watching from Mazeras Town in Mombasa. Peter Hillary, you also tuned in. Edwin Rono, watching KBC Lunchtime News from Kiplombe in Eldoret. Amos Kiprono, watching live from Kapsiwa, Nandi County. Enos Omothi, saying you're watching and you say pole sana to the family of those who lost their loved ones in the road accident in Webuye and Gucci di Mathu. You are also tuned in. Let's take that break. I'll be right back with more news, including business and sports.
But we have learned a lot during our stay here. More than that, I think the cementation of the friendship between the two countries is obvious. My colleagues, my wife and I go back home carrying very happy memories of our visit to Kenya, and we just would like to thank Mzee Kenyatta and his ministers and the mayor of Nairobi and all the people of Kenya for this wonderful time. The cementation of friendship between the two countries obviously means plenty of important discussions behind doors.
Jemo kuget Go TV ilikuwa decision moja fiti sana kwa life yake. Usitake jua kuget machua mtimam za kucheki futa ilikuwa ngori kuruka na zilidai mamkwanja. Alafu ikajipa Jemo akawai discovery moja big. Siku hizi zinamshika mtaani akicheza pro na home ground advantage. Get home ground advantage ukijishikia decoder ya Go TV kwa bei nafuu ya 1,299 bob plus 1 month Go TV Plus. Enjoy the world's biggest leagues na cup competitions hii futa season. Go TV, love it.
Talking about animals, look ahead of buffalo.
This week on Zurura,
hii kazi mimi leo ninafanya.
We take you on a journey from farm to shop. Rock climbing.
My toes feel like sardines.
We'll also get your adrenaline pumping with a rigorous activity.
You can get lost here easily, yeah?
You get to find out what conservancies actually do.
Expand my mind.
And yes, that's all coming right up on Zurura. Find your adventure.
Will you focus, you cabbage face? This kind of speech is for those who use their brains. You, on the other hand, could use water and soap.
Guys! Julia and Vala, I've eaten all the food. Now we are going to die in the jungle.
Will you keep your voice down?
You know, I had no plan of going out like this, just so you know. And Julia, just know you are the worst planner in the history of planning.
What is your problem, eh? Why can't you just enjoy the trip like the rest of us? We might have taken the wrong van. Whose van is this?
I'm feeling the music in the air.
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
The mighty will fall.
Driver! The members of Contra Unit! How have these guys not even been suspended or banned from MLW yet? After what they did to Ace Romero, after what they did... Oh my God! Oh my God! Get some help out here! They just set that man on fire! Against the former champion! Oh no! These guys are, they're all about violence. They say they're global gamers and violence.
Under the new directive,
reference to the Kenya Vision 2030 and the Big Four agenda in their advertisements and public communication. This is a directive issued by the head of public service, Joseph Njue, who says the display of the logos is meant to improve public communication in a manner that ensures that the successes and achievements of the government are effectively communicated in a coordinated manner. Here is Alan with those details.
Under the new directive, government agencies are required to display the logos of the Kenya Vision 2030 and the Big Four agenda alongside the institutional logo in all their adverts and public communication. In the circular addressed to the Attorney General, Cabinet Secretaries, Principal Secretaries, Chairpersons, Chief Executive Officers and State Corporations, the Head of Public Service, Joseph Njue, says the objective is to achieve a synergized and coordinated communication of government successes and achievements. The head of public service noted that the change was prompted by the need to assure a singular framework on the articulation and packaging of government information. Njue further says to ensure efficiency and appropriate content referencing, all advertisements and public communications shall be edited, curated and compartmentalized under the appropriate Kenya Vision 2030 pillar and Big Four agenda by the Vision 2030 Delivery Secretariat and the Presidential Delivery Unit. This comes as the government moves to boost manufacturing, food and nutrition security, affordable housing and universal health coverage, as well as enabling infrastructure. The Kenya Vision 2030 Delivery Secretariat and the Presidential Delivery Unit will audit all public institutions quarterly to ensure compliance.
Now, John Wambugu is a farmer in Narok County and is among a few who have relentingly grown cabbages despite harsh weather conditions in the area. Wambugu grows cabbages on his 15-acre piece of land and has incorporated irrigation to ensure production throughout the year. In this week's episode of Farmwise, we highlight cabbage production.
Narok is among counties classified as arid and semi-arid areas, highlighted by poor rains. However, John Wambugu, a farmer in Narok, has devised ways of steadily producing cabbages throughout the year after moving away from rain-fed agriculture.
Natumia machine, tunatoa maji kwa mto za diesel. Mimi nalima mbali na maji, kwa hivyo natumia lista, hizi mashini kubwa. Per day inatumia lita kama 20.
To ensure quality produce, he purchases high-quality seeds from the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization centers to ensure his cabbages fetches more in the market.
Kuanzia kupanda mbegu tunaendea Naivasha. Hii ya kujimwagia inatusumbuaga sana. Tunanunua mbegu kutoka Naivasha. Tunauziwa 10,000 cents per acre. Tunanunua almost 20k per acre. Tunaweka mbolea, tunanyunyiza maji na tunapiga madawa.
Good crop husbandry has seen Wambugu making about 100,000 shillings per acre each season.
Mamia kuuza, ukiuza in average eka moja unauza 200k, kwa hivyo unaweza pata profit ya 100%.
However, he says he has had to contend with invasion of both domestic and wild animals that wander into his farm in search of pasture.
Hapa ni Masai Dad, wanafuga mang'ombe na mbuzi, so lazima uwe ngangari, lazima uwe na wafanyakazi wa kuangalia mashamba. Kwanza saa hii kuna kiangazi, utakuta hata zingine zimeachiliwa.
Even though recent travel restrictions and reduced capacity in restaurant had affected his business, Wambugu hopes for better returns with the easing of travel restrictions. He is calling for deployment of more extension services to ensure farmers produce high quality cabbages for local and export markets.
Nimefanya vitu mingi. Kwa hii kilimo nimenunua shamba, nimejenga, nimenunua gari na bado naendelea kufanya miradi.
Moving on, East Africa's community goal of harmonizing domestic taxes continue to face headwinds as member states are yet to agree on uniform tax rates. EAC Cabinet Secretary Aidan Mohamed says elimination of anti-competitive taxes could be used to promote the region as a single investment destination.
Talks on harmonization of taxes was first mooted by the EAC Sectoral Council on Finance and Economic Affairs in May 2012 in Kampala, Uganda. The move paved a way for the regional finance ministers to meet and draft the EAC domestic tax harmonization policy that would give guidance on how the regional tax process should be carried out. However, failure by member states to agree on uniform tax rules and rates for the region has slowed down the process.
Barriers, my goodness, this is a long story. That one, you know, you've seen these games where you're trying to catch the rat. You keep banging them and they're not getting sorted. Double taxation, avoidance of double taxation, we need to address that on a SG in the Secretariat. And we must clarify everything that have to do with our customs, rules and regulations. Sanitary and phytosanitary protocols need to be cleaned up. We also need to address our rules of origin. That is creating huge challenges at the border and making sure that our trucks get to sit.
The challenges that we have seen is goods that are manufactured within EAC states sometimes are not as competitive as we would have liked them to be because of some of these existing domestic taxes. And it's one of the biggest challenges.
The EAC domestic tax harmonization policy proposed introduction of EAC-wide minimum excise rates by type of goods and services with regular adjustments and periodic realignment to take into account inflation and exchange rate movements. According to the policy, harmonization of tax rates within the East African community is expected to take a progressive approach starting from excise and VAT, followed by income tax at a later stage. On VAT, the policy proposes adoption of a single positive standard rate in each partner state subject to an EAC-wide minimum. For example, Kenya's standard VAT rate is 16%, while Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda and Burundi are at 18%. With regards to income tax, the policy proposes adoption of common rules for determining the tax base, introducing a minimum income tax rate for each category to prevent harmful tax competition. The process has been slow since some partner states are dissatisfied with the plan to harmonize VAT, income tax and excise duty, which are considered critical sources of revenue for member states. Experts say elimination of double taxation that has been cited as a major hindrance to fairness and investment will highly depend on commitment by partner states. Mohammed says elimination of non-tariff barriers and market distortions could undermine implementation of EAC Common Market Protocol and the EAC Monetary Union Protocol.
Monetary Union, which is one of the key pillars, also the third plank of our treaty, is at a very advanced stage. All the underlying rules and legislations have been passed and assented to by the heads of states. And we are at this stage looking where to house this monetary union, in which country, and that discussion is ongoing. And in not too distant future, the plan is to have one common central bank like you have in Europe, one currency, so that when you go from one country to the other, you don't have to worry about exchange rates and so on and so forth. That program is progressing very well, and we should be able to see that happening within the region.
Across the border, the government of Tanzania has launched a call for high net worth investors to manage and operate its 9 islands in Pemba and Unguja as part of the ongoing efforts to boost the economy. The move is also expected to promote the development of its small islands into high-end economic activities. Here are the details of this and other stories from across Africa.
The Tanzanian government says the decision is based on the need for diversification to attract investors, stressing that the small islands are assets that can be developed for the general good of investors and Zanzibaris alike. According to the Zanzibar Investment Promotion Authority Director, The investors must invest huge sums of money and have until September to provide information regarding their experience and ability to develop projects. The authority says, unlike in the past, the Tanzanian government is targeting net worth individuals who can invest huge amounts of money in projects that would yield quick economic gains for the country. Meanwhile, Somalia has set up a trade information portal to facilitate cross-border trade and provide businesses with a transparent environment. The portal is the government's latest move to improve cross-border trade and facilitate Somalia's accession to the World Trade Organization by complying with the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement. The state minister at the Ministry of Commerce and Industry says the portal, which provides a unified source for all cross-border trade information, will lower costs and simplify trade procedures for Somali importers and exporters. Finally, Ghana will strive to transform the fisheries sector in a bid to create more jobs and enhance livelihoods. Chief of Staff of the Presidency says the Ghanaian government plans to address illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing and depleting marine fish stocks, which have far-reaching implications for future generations. The official said the government would develop a new fisheries co-management policy to enhance the management of the fisheries sector and optimize its impact. Ghana earns about $190 million from fish exports annually, and the sector supports livelihoods for about 3 million people, according to official data.
Further afield, Apple Chief Executive Tim Cook has received more than 5 million shares in the technology giant as he marked 10 years in the job. This was part of a deal he struck when he took over from co-founder Steve Jobs, and the award was dependent on how well Apple's shares performed compared to other firms on the S&P 500 stock index. Here are the details of these and other stories from across the globe.
Apple's filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission watchdog shows that Cook sold most of the shares for more than $750 million. According to Apple's filing, Cook was eligible for the award as the company's shares had risen by 191.83% over the last 3 years. The filings also noted that Apple's shares price has increased 1,200% since he became chief executive on 24th August 2011. The company behind the iPhone, iPad and MacBook now has a market valuation of almost $2.5 trillion. Meanwhile, a U.S. judge declined to stop Johnson & Johnson from taking steps to offload widespread baby powder liabilities from the rest of its business. This gives Johnson & Johnson the option to move its liabilities from widespread baby powder and other talc-related litigation into a newly created business that would later seek bankruptcy protection. The company's talc products are currently housed in a subsidiary called Johnson & Johnson Consumer Incorporated. The judge presiding over the case says it would be improper as part of Emery's bankruptcy case to legally bar Johnson & Johnson from undertaking a hypothetical future. Finally, Microsoft has warned thousands of its cloud computing customers, including some of the world's largest companies, that intruders could have the ability to read, change, or even delete their main databases. The vulnerability in Microsoft Azure's flagship Cosmos DB database could access keys that control access to databases held by thousands of companies. Microsoft cannot change those keys by itself and informed customers through an email to create new ones. Microsoft agreed to pay Wiz $40,000 for finding the flaw and reporting it. Reporting for Lunchtime News, my name is Hibar Saeed.
And in sports, England international Harry Kane scored twice on his first start of the season as Spurs advanced to the Europa Conference League group stage with a 3-1 aggregate win over Paco